All right. Good evening. Peace and blessings. You're tuned in to Holla at the Success Scholar with the Honorable One, the Safo, the Success Scholar himself, Haki Shakur Ami. Thank you all for joining in, listening in. I am here broadcasting live today and each and every Monday, 8 to 9 p.m. at Everlasting Life, 9185 Central Avenue in Capitol Heights, Maryland. So I have a wonderful, wonderful show lined up. Thank you all for joining me here again. It's definitely been a powerful, powerful weekend, and we'll get into that. Have a wonderful guest with me in the studio, as well as I will have my good brother joining me on the line. And at the 8:15, 5 more minutes. So just like to thank everybody. Thank you all. You all can go to elifemedia.net to listen live, as well as download the Ustream app on Ustream through your mobile devices or phone. So definitely thank everybody for joining me this evening. Before I get into my conversation and we have our guest on the line, let me just plug and share with everybody a little bit about myself. Haki Shakur Ami here, the Success Scholar. I am a book promoter, author, as well as just a true success scholar. And I will define what a success scholar is. A success scholar is one who has mastered the art and study of success. I believe that in my studies I have attempted to discover or rediscover, because everything is already within us as our people, but to rediscover what it means to be successful for us as a people in the 21st century. And let me just promote several books that I would encourage everybody to get, and you can get from me. I've been a promoter of books, of course, and I got rid of a lot of these at the Power Networking Conference. Damon John's Power Broke. I am a Power Broke ambassador, and actually Damon John will be coming to Baltimore on August the 24th. So look for that. Look for that at Coppin State University. So that's just a heads up for that. So I just got that word. And of course, the Man of Essence. A few weeks ago had a few weeks to attend an event in the Baltimore area that the library sponsored, and so you can get this book from me. So, and of course, my book, bestseller, and we are working on part 2 of this book, Mission Unstoppable, Extraordinary Stories of Failure's Blessings, with Les Brown and Dr. George Frazier. And yes, thank you. Okay, and we are working on part 2 of that with the great Dr. Randall Pickett. And so before our guest calls in, I have a wonderful, wonderful Mike Queen here joining me here in the studio. Good evening, Sylvia. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on this
Straight
evening.
to the mic. Okay. All right. Yeah, definitely. We had a busy weekend, and
Yes.
Dr. Baruch is in the studio as well. He joined us. He was there this weekend. How you doing, my brother?
Great, brother. How about you?
Oh, man, doing beautiful.
Great.
Beautiful,
That's what's
brother.
up.
Yeah. So we had a good time this weekend. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, but my guy's going to call in on at 8:15. Hopefully he still will do that. But Dr. Baruch, so just share, so how'd you feel about this weekend, Elder?
Well, I think it was, I think it was a really good networking opportunity. First off, let me thank you for, coming on board with us here at eLife Media and believing enough in a vision that, on the front end of anything, the roots go down before the plant starts coming up out of the ground. And it'll be those of us who were here at this beginning that become a part of that founding, element that was here to create a bottom or a footing to this long-lasting media venture that we pray will be able to change some of the dynamics within the media world, and that we want to begin to expose people to more positive, empowering, and uplifting images of themselves and stories of themselves. And so it's by no error or mistake on anyone's part that we would invite you to become a part of what it is that we're doing, recognizing that you have done this and have been doing this. This is not, you know, your first rodeo. You've been uplifting and empowering our people. So I think it's, you know, again, it's par for the course for us to join hands, link arms, and become a force that multiplies one another and brings attention to one another as we seek to impact these people out here in the world. But as it relates to this weekend, I think that was just a macrocosm of the microcosm of you and I. That it was a macrocosm is that in that you found so many people who had the desire to, one, network, connect up with, learn more about, figure out how to grow, build, and expand on a vision that they had. Because most of us, you know, give us 5 years back, and we weren't doing what we were doing yesterday at the conference or this past weekend. We weren't involved in that. So, you know, we're all trying to get ourselves, you know, our footing, and we're trying to grow and build. And who better to grow up under than George Fraser and the Fraser Net and the Power Networking Conference? I think it's, you know, it was a no-brainer. I'm glad I showed up, and I look forward to showing up for the next 5 years here in the D.C. metropolitan area, where we, you know, empower our community and make our community see that there's a way out of this that does not involve, I guess, supporting other people in the fulfillment of their vision as much so as it is the fulfillment of our own.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Sylvia, what did you spent the weekend there at the Power Networking Conference? This is actually your second time. It was my fourth year actually attending the Power Networking Conference. So what did you feel and experience? And I know some of the people that are out here listening to you live, you know, attended for the first time or second time. I know Brother Michael Graham, Heart and Soul Magazine, is out there. Shout out to Sherry and Shanika and Karen. So share, what is your experience this time? I mean, last year we went as regular participants, and this year we, you know, just stepped it up another level. So how did you feel?
Well, I think the first time that we went, it was awesome. Just the experience, the exposure to like-minded people who are progressive, business-minded, people who have strong objectives as far as where they want themselves to be in the future, and having a group of professionals in one place that you can actually reach out to and speak with about your goals and aspirations was just priceless. So this year, given the fact that we were presenting ourselves differently, was a different type of opportunity in that we had a different interaction. We were able to talk to people, other authors, other business people. You know, I have my own company, so for me, being able to connect with other people who have their businesses and listening to their visions and listening to the things that they're trying to do to move their businesses forward and gaining insight was very valuable. I'm very pleased that the conference is here in the Maryland metropolitan area for the next 5 to 6 years. I hope that it will be the permanent home of the Power Networking Conference, and I would say that anyone who did not have an opportunity to make it this year will make it their business, their primary objective to be there next year.
Certainly, absolutely, and you know, we have to really diversify. Sometimes, you know, we get into our circles or our belief systems or the people that we agree with all the time. Right. And, you know, I'm just trying to find some folks that are healthy, that are living, that are sane, you know, just some folks that's trying to survive. Like we talk about life, people are trying to live,
right,
Brother Dr. Baruch. And so, you know, so matter of fact, Dr. Baruch, let me just ask you before I call in, how long have you been like here? Well, just share a little bit of your story, just so you know, folk would know.
Well, this vision all started back in 1995 when I was at a conference, a food conference, and a woman was practicing her speech as I was setting up all the computers and the microphones and the sound system and the internet. And she said, if you control, in the middle of her speech, she said, if you control a man's food, you control him. And at the moment she said him, I realized that my life was going to change permanently, forever, as a result of her saying him. And when she said that, I called, I ran outside, picked up my expensive cell phone back then in 1995, you know, it's crazy, but called, said, boom, honey, we're going to open up a restaurant. We have to begin to provide or control the food that makes it into our community, because it's only at that point that we would know, or at least have the power to create positive change in the lives of so many others. So I jumped into that in 1995, opened up on Georgia Avenue, did that until 2000. In 2000, we opened up out here in Capitol Heights, and that's on Central Avenue right here. The restaurant has been set up controlling the content that we consume nutritionally. And then, you know, of course, it was a natural progression that we would go into intellectual content, which we consume intellectually and mentally, spiritually and otherwise. But the vision was that we needed to control the content, because if we could control the content, we could begin to control the outcomes. And that's a big deal, you know, with regard to our health. If we could control the content, then we could start slowing down the amount of high blood pressure, heart disease, and diabetes. If we could control the content intellectually, then we can increase the self-worth of the individual, so that the individuals can start making better decisions on behalf of themselves. And all of that is just part and parcel to a campaign to control the content. That's where we at.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's a beautiful point that you make. And so actually we had our guy trying to call in. He said he was getting a voicemail. Was that due to that
I think
just
that's
now?
What the
Okay,
deal
let me
was.
just go ahead and tell him to call in. But as I get him to call in, let's see. Sylvia, you've been a vegan, you know, for you know, well, just share, how long have you been a vegan?
Well, I was a vegetarian from age 19, and I thought I was a very healthy vegetarian until I educated myself a little bit more on what I did not know. I've been a vegan for almost 6 years now. And so once I realized that my intake, because a lot of people say, you know, it's a diet. I never refer to my vegan lifestyle as a diet. I talk about intake. I talk about health and wellness and what I put into my system. And, you know, by training, I'm a scientist, so I understand the body, how the body functions, and specifically the areas that I studied were cell biology and hematology, the two key components of the body. And knowing how the things that we introduce into the body, the possible impact it has. So becoming a vegan was just a natural progression forward.
Right. Okay, all right, beautiful. I'm sorry. Yeah, so definitely. And, you know, that's really interesting. I always share my story in the sense that, you know, we have to be able to, you know, I came from a politicized perspective of what's actually the war, you know, that's actually against the Dr. Baruch, and understanding that, you know, our goal need to be protection, ultimately, protection on different levels. And when we know that, you know, that we're being poisoned on so many different levels in this society, you know, we should have a level of awareness.
Right.
So, but yeah, I think my guy's calling in here, so we'll get back to this conversation in a second. So we have on the line with us Brother Sam Olarape, calling in from New York. Brother Sam?
How is everything, Brother Hakeem?
Everything is great, my brother. Everything is great. Thank you for calling in and tuning in. So what's going on, my brother? How is the Big Apple? How's New York, brother?
Everything is groovy in the Big Apple.
All right, man. So you've been hitting different spots over the past few weeks promoting for this 7 a.m. And to let the listeners know, we will be in the New York market in Brooklyn at St. Francis College this weekend, speaking and showing the film 7 a.m. So what have you been doing in terms of promoting for this event, brother? Let's start with that.
In regards to promoting this event, I've been focused on two key demographics. One is the black business professional class,
Okay.
and the other is the black conscious community.
Okay.
And the purpose of this event is to connect members of the black conscious community to members of the black networking community,
Okay.
and to create a synergistic energy directed towards business development
Mm-hmm.
that's going to transcend the event itself. That's going to be
Right.
continued even after the event is over. So the event is designed to create not just a powerful experience, but actual tangible results.
Right. Well. Before we, add on to that, so just share exactly, what 7 a.m. is and what was the intent of what you are, the producer Jason Black and your role in that. Can you share with the listeners that?
Yes, 7 a.m. is the first comprehensive analysis of the number one problem negatively impacting black people. The lack of businesses and the fact that we do not own nor control our own economy in the Western Hemisphere. So the purpose of 7 a.m. was to bring this issue to the fore on a basic level so that those who know that something is wrong but who are intent on doing something about it will have something to look at, something to give them clarity around what's going on with black people, and something that will be a tool to end the confusion. And 7 a.m. has succeeded in that.
Right.
And my role in 7 a.m. was I worked with Jason Black in co-producing this documentary. I helped to film certain areas of the documentary throughout the New York region. And I also worked directly in the marketing and promotion of the actual premiere in New York and in other regions throughout the United States.
Wow, great. Yeah, so it's good that you said that. So share some of the people that are actually in the film. Some are known, some may not be known to different people in the listening audience. So share that, please.
Absolutely. In 7 a.m., we took it upon ourselves to interview the premier minds on black economics. So in the documentary is Dr. Claude Anderson himself. His credentials speak for himself. We also have Dr. Umar Johnson, child psychologist and political scientist.
Right.
We have real estate magnate Don Peoples in the
Yes.
documentary. We have the bloodline of Madam C.J. Walker, Alayla Bundles.
Wow.
We have a expert on the Negro Leagues. His name is Mark Levine. He is a Jewish man that has specialized and spent years studying the Negro Leagues. That's his passion, his hobby. We felt that his insights and his thoughts on integration would be valuable to hear. And yeah, we took it upon ourselves to put together an impressive lineup for 7 a.m. And we also have Brett Pulley in the documentary. He was actually based out in your area, the Washington, D.C., Baltimore area.
Okay. All right. Beautiful. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. Some people, how some folk are. Well, what's the white guy doing in there? And sometimes you have to get information from various sources. Like Dr. Baruch has forks over knives here, and sometimes you don't ask where you get the information. If the content of the knowledge is on point, you just suck it up. You suck it up, and because sometimes people are in different rooms and different capacities where they're able to snitch. They're able to feed your information. So yeah, man. So you've been, you were at a Dr. Umar event up in New York. You went to the 7 a.m. premieres, and you were at the African, the Arts Festival. So what? Just can you recap those few events that you went to promote for this?
I went to different events
Right.
in Brooklyn, Harlem, everywhere where we congregate. I went to these places to promote the event because one of the impetus for actually doing the screening was the recognition that there was a significant section of these different communities that have heard of 7 a.m. but have not had a chance to see it on the big screen.
Mm-hmm.
So the purpose of this was to give them an opportunity to not just see the documentary on the big screen, but to get the experience of the synergy of other like minds in the same room.
Right.
That's not something you can replicate or duplicate.
Mm-hmm.
And so the same energy that was generated in Washington, D.C. at the East Street Cinema when we premiered it there, and the same energy that was generated at the SVA Theater in New York
Right.
is the same energy we want to bring back. But we want to channel it a little bit more differently.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going to be different is that you have people that have already seen 7 a.m.
Right.
1 time, 2 times, 3 times. They're actually going to be coming to the screening,
Okay.
which goes to show that 7 a.m. over a year and a half later still has stood the test of time and is still bringing in people who believe in the message, who have imbibed it, and who get something different every time they see it.
Wow.
So you're going to have those
yes, that's
group
true.
of people in the audience, along with people seeing it for the first time who just heard of it. And then you also have a demographic, especially in the Harlem area, right, who have not heard of 7 a.m. or have not seen 7 a.m., and they plan on coming. So we're going to be bringing that type of energy to this event.
Wow, phenomenal. Yeah, so for those that that may not know, that attended the Power Networking Conference, of course, and hopefully we could push for next year, maybe perhaps to do something there. Definitely can work towards that. But brother, they did do a screening of Black Friday there, and prior to 7 a.m. I did a screening in Baltimore, and then we did a screening in the Bowie area, and Sam came down, so I'm grateful for that. And at this particular event in Brooklyn, I will be moderating, and I appreciate that offer and invite for you, brother Sam, to offer me to moderate that. So I'm gonna be ready for your people and for your for the.
Can I say something about that?
Sure.
When I went to your screening of 7 a.m., I was so impressed with the way you moderated that event that I had to ask you to come to New York to do it for us here at St. Francis College.
Right.
And I am humbled and honored that you've accepted the invitation. I've been to 7 a.m. screenings all over, and I was most impressed by your event and by your moderation. And so I kind of wanted that level of expertise brought to St. Francis College in Brooklyn. So
Awesome.
thank you for the willingness to leave the Washington, D.C., Baltimore area to come with us and be with us. And
right.
that's the type of expertise that is being brought to this event.
All right. Beautiful.
So thank you.
Yes, sir. You're very welcome, my brother. So I ain't going to hold you up here. So let's put out some dates and time. This Saturday, June the 4th. This Saturday, June the 4th, doors open at 4 p.m., 4 to 10. So give out the address, Brother Sam, as well as your contact information and the cost of this event.
The address is 180 Remsen Street in Brooklyn, New York. For those familiar with Brooklyn, it's going to be in the downtown Brooklyn area, not too far from Court Street, walking distance from J Street, and in the Borough Hall area. So it's 180 Remsen Street, St. Francis College, Brooklyn, New York, and it will take place from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. And the costs for the tickets are $10 for general admission, $25 for VIP admission, and that is actually going to change very soon. Maybe as early as June 1st, the ticket prices are going to go up
Right.
to $15,
Yes, sir.
and the VIP may be as high as $35 at the door.
All right, all right. So yeah, so let's give out the website and the contact information, and I'll let you get back to making your moves.
Yes, the website is 7amchallenge.instapage.com. And let me spell that. 7am challenge dot INSTAPAG, like in goat, .com.
All right.
And I can be reached at 646-228-8874 if anybody has any additional questions pertaining to this event. Thank you for having me.
All right, thanks, Brother Sam. And I guess we can go to a quick. Sylvia said, see you, Sam. Sorry about that. All right, so I guess we're going to go to a quick break. Brother Reggie, we good? Want to take a break? All right, so we're going to go to a quick break. Everyone, thank you for tuning in. We'll be right back in a few minutes. Thank you. All right, we're back. Thank you for tuning in to the Success Scholar, Hakeem Shakur Mead. Thank you for tuning in, brothers and sisters. And let me just read this E-Life lineup here real quick. Rob Hall is on Mondays, 7 to 9 a.m., the Hall Street Journal. Andrew Sewell, Coffee Everywhere, Monday, 9 to 11 a.m., Coffee Everywhere. Kim Robinson, Keep It Moving Show 2, Mondays, 11 to 1. Todd Ewing, The Heaven in Every Black Face, Monday, 6 to 7. The Roland Grimes Show, the one that's just on just before me, is Monday, 7 to 8 p.m. And the Dr. Baruch Show is on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, 11 to 1 p.m. And Slick Daddy Rick, the Slick Daddy Rick Heartbeat Congo Hour is on Tuesdays, 8 to 10 p.m. So definitely. That's part of the lineup. We have a few more here, but I'm going to keep it going here and talk a little bit about another event that's coming up here that I'm going to be a co-sponsor in. And this is Power Talk. I don't know if anybody can see that, but Power Talk is coming. And this is Brother Carl Nelson. And this is a stellar lineup, Dr. Baruch. I'm sure you've done that. Yeah, you did it at the church the last time. So it's definitely coming back. So matter of fact, I'm gonna see if they can have some good food out there.
There we go.
For sure, because we don't want to be stuck there. Like, where are we gonna go? But this Friday, June the 17th, and I'll share more. And maybe I'll get one of them to join me in here in the studio one of these times. Professor Griff on Friday, June the 17th. Dr. Booker T. Coleman, he was actually I believe he was in the new Hidden Colors. Dr. Jim Klingman, Reverend Willie Wilson, Dr. Julius Garvey, Dr. Ava Muhammad, then on Saturday, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, Dr. Patricia Newton, Dr. Anthony Brada, Baba Dick Gregory, Dr. Malifia Sante, and Dr. Claude Anderson. So that's a stellar lineup of powerful speakers that Brother Carl Nelson is bringing. So I'm actually just a sponsor in that. I'll have a table so we can, have our eLife Media stuff up there, like I had at the PNC, sharing with everybody about, what we're doing actually here. So, and I feel that, collaborating and partnering, because not everybody actually, not everybody's listening to each radio program. And so sometimes we have to, show up at events. We have to create books. We have to create podcasts. Just like what you're saying, just being a total media conglomerate, and that's where it starts with places like this. And I just like to set up here with, having you have your establishment like I was sharing with the brothers. I couldn't roll with anyone, just anyone with a radio show. My brand has elevated.
Sure.
So I'm not going to start with something that I don't see a serious commitment in, and you've demonstrated a serious commitment with with getting this station done.
Yes, sir.
And up and running. So I just want to say thank you again for for doing that. And so so Sylvia, so share a little bit. You've been working just briefly. We're going to be working towards doing some federal work with the 8A program. Many people may not know. Just a little taster. Let everybody know what the federal 8A program is and how businesses can get into that, or more information.
Okay, so my company is an 8A certified company by the Small Business Administration. And what that means is that we've been in business successfully for a period of time with a specific revenue limit, with good past performance and good documentation that the 8A program requires. It is a tedious process, somewhat, but like all things that are important and have relevance, it's worth going after. So the SBA has this set up with the federal government, and there are contracts that are set aside specifically for small businesses. And it just allows a small business to be able to compete with some of the larger companies that seem to get all the government contracts or are geared towards taking away a portion from small businesses. So it puts us in the ballpark. We absolutely realize we can't compete with the large companies, but at least it gives us an opportunity to have a footprint.
Right.
So it's a 9-year program. We've been in it 6 months now, and we work within the government space, and we also work on the commercial side as well. But it is a great opportunity for a small business to try to get into the government space and establish themselves as far as going after government contracting.
All right, beautiful. So yeah, and I hear that Trevor gave you some good feedback. Trevor Otts,
Yes, he did.
at this conference. So So let's talk about the Power Networking Conference just for a second. So Dr. Baruch, were you able to attend any of the workshops, or what you see anything interesting that I have the lineup here and several of the amazing individuals that were present there. So what was your takeaways, or what did you get out of it?
Definitely. There were some experts there present in the crowd. There were probably multiple, in different sectors of business and business development and types of businesses even. And I think it's important that we understand that not all messages work for everybody. So having multiple people to give you their approach to how they've been successful in the work that they're doing, is beneficial. And, the number of individuals that were there who could give advice about branding, about networking, about, doing business with the government, about doing business overseas, all of this was present there. And I think it's just, it's what George originally envisioned when he set this up, that this would become the hub that would keep us all spinning, that would rev us up once a year so that we can keep spinning and spinning and spinning. And I think it ties us into, here at eLife Media and you and I in the D.C., Maryland, and Baltimore area, that we see that there's a need for this momentum to be continued in between conferences. There's a need for us to bring attention to the fact that there are experts in our area, and if they're not in our area, well, guess what? We got a phone, and we can Skype them in if we need to, such that they could be here to make those kind of give us those kind of tidbits of advice that would help us sometimes make it over the hump. Because sometimes if you don't know, you just don't know. And when you're confronted with situations where you don't know what the answer is, even though there's an answer out there, you can ruin the future of your business, or it can collapse. So I think the Power Networking Conference offered us an opportunity to see what our greater potential is. Now it's a matter of doing what everybody said over and over again, which is follow up. And if we don't follow up, then we'll get back in the same rut, and we'll find ourselves waiting for the next Power Networking Conference so that we can figure out how to make it work. And I think that's not how this should work. I think we should be doing the work now. We should be following up now so that next year we can be at the next level, and those that come behind us can learn from us.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm sitting here looking at this lineup. It's like, wow, a lot of powerful people actually came through. I'll just start on this side. Mike Roberts, Dr. Randall Pickett, Deborah Peak Hayes, and Emmerich Peace, William Patterson, Nicole Parker, Gina Page. It was just a phenomenal. That's just one paragraph of the speakers. And so, it was just a phenomenal, so much to choose from. And, me being there 3 years before this, and coming this year in a different capacity with my prime real estate that I had there, that I assured that I will absolutely have for the next 5 years as it will be there, made it my business to strategically position myself so that I would be in a position to meet people, and not just as another regular participant. Each year, you should have another cash flow, you should have another skill, you should have a partnership or collaboration, or you should have done an event, you should have another product that's out. So now I'm thinking, you have to look at all those forces and know what your market is and what your skill set is, and who's going to work best for you, because sometimes there's a lot of false starts out here, and I've done some things that were not at that particular time needed. So you have to know where you are. But let me just give out the number if anybody that's listening here live would like to call in. 240-455-5934. Again, that number again is 240-455-5934. You want to say anything about your Power Networking Conference, or say anything about your business, what you got out of the Power Networking Conference, I would appreciate your feedback. We had Kenny Gamble. He actually ain't no stopping us now if we can get that plan. We had Kenny Gamble coming in. I remember him from a few years ago when I used to go to Philadelphia more often, and we, just had a good time, with with that. And even Michael Collier, the comedian, many people know him. He gave, I believe, what was it, $50,000? He won some money, and he gave $50,000. I don't know if it was the whole winnings of that charity, but he gave it to charity, right? So that was just phenomenal, brother. He was hilarious indeed. So we do have a little bit of fun towards the end, but best believe that this is a working conference.
Yes, it is.
And I think if Dr. Baruch got that pulled up, ain't no stopping us now. We can kind of get into that. All right, yeah, here we go. It's playing in the background. And I remember, may rest in peace to the McFadden and Whitehead. They transitioned. So how you feeling out there, brothers and sisters? Are you feeling that there ain't no stopping us now? It's just, we have to really, truly, get the right knowledge, show up at the right places, elevate our level of skill, our mindset to reach the next level, man. And that's what we gotta do, Sylvia. So what you feel? Anybody? I know I said a lot of people. Anybody stood out to you? Anybody stood out to you that you feel you connected to? And I already know who you connected to on different levels, but.
Well, I mean, there were so many phenomenal people. Mike Roberts is always wonderful. He's very approachable.
Yes. Now let me just say this: a billionaire.
Yes.
A black billionaire.
When you get a chance to rub shoulders with
a black billionaire.
Black billionaire.
Yeah. Like this is the only time I know I get once a year.
Like you're guaranteed to see him every year.
Right.
Dr. Randall Pinkin.
Yes.
Billionaire contract.
Yeah. He got
from the federal government.
Yeah, he got a $1 billion contract.
So I mean, so many. Dr. Willie Jolly.
Right. Yes, Dr. Willie Jolly. He's from this area. Right.
From this area. I mean, he wasn't one of the panel presenters, but just the fact that he was there and he's just a wealth of knowledge. Nicole Parker, a mogul in her own right, real estate developer, local talent.
Right.
I mean, there were so many phenomenal people. Bernie.
Bernie Durham.
Bernie Durham. The CEO space.
Right.
And it was so much, Haki, that we had to choose from. And I mean, at every turn, you saw someone that could impact your thought process. The way Trevor, Shay and Trevor, and their promotional marketing expertise, helping you take your business to the different level. I mean, there were so many different people. I mean, it was almost like, it was like a big basket of fruit that we had so much to choose from.
Right.
So it was a phenomenal. I'm just looking forward to next year, but as we just mentioned, we're not just going to sit and rest on the information that we received. We're going to put those things into action. The connections that you were making, the networking opportunities. If you just let them pass you by, you're really missing out on something great.
Absolutely. Now, Dr. Baruch, in terms of, just adding on to the health aspect, I mean, rather recently, Dr. Frazier has, added a health component to it. He wanted to, just really bring that to the center, theoretically, pushing it out there. He has a health and wellness director, I believe that's her title now, Miss Susan Hart. So, I always use the example like, look, I mean, somewhere in the back of our, not in the back, but in the forefront of our thoughts, like if you make money, the purpose of making money is to, live a better quality of life, well-rounded. It's not to go and splurge on some shrimps and lobster and, we can get the king crab, so, just share, just the whole balance of wellness and wealth, because sometimes we, and I see it, unfortunately we have people transitioning at 50 years old, and it's like, man, don't just run around trying to make all this money. You've been better off just, kind of coasting along. You dying at 40 and 50. You know, you would have been better off and just coasting and living a long life. You would have made more money if you would have lived to been 80 years old and just living a balanced life. And that's why I'm just like, you know, sometimes we have to think, you know, like, is this a healthy endeavor that we're doing, or the business relationships, or whatever our business pursuits are. So you've been in the health and wellness field, what, all your life, right? I mean, pretty much.
About now.
No, wait a minute. So I know you graduated from Howard. Did you work for corporate, or I think you said yeah.
Yes, I actually graduated from Lincoln University.
Okay.
LU.
Right. Okay.
And then, yeah, I did work for years in corporate America.
Okay.
But with regard to, just like there's a work-life balance or life-work balance, there's a wealth-health balance, you know.
Right.
And sometimes we realize, just like I've had to, you know, I sometimes work late hours, and
Right.
sometimes I don't get the rest that I need. Sometimes
Yeah.
I'm not able to, I don't compromise with what I eat, and that there's certain boundaries that I don't violate. But even within those boundaries, there's some areas where I know, you know, I could do better. You know, so,
right.
but so there has to be that health and wealth balance, such that you don't fall into the trap that many billionaires and millionaires have found themselves in, is they're dying and their money can't buy them back.
Steve, what's the name?
Jobs.
Yeah.
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 You just don't have the money to get your body back after you've mistreated it.
Yeah,
And sometimes it's unavoidable because of circumstances, you know, that you encounter. But you should always want to do the best that you can,
Right.
because the ultimate wealth is your good health.
Yes.
You know, at the end of the day, that's real value, that you have the wherewithal to live another day, that you might be able to do something with that other day to increase your capacity to support your life for the rest of your life. But when your health is gone and you can't do anything else, then, you know, that's poor. That's not only a poor state of health, but that's poor in that your wealth can't buy you your health back.
Wow.
So we have to make sure that we're mindful of it. And too many of us now are finding, you know, it's like recognizing that you get a pension. There was a time when everybody got a pension, right? You know, you get this pension
Right.
in life, and so many people don't live out a significant time under their pension. So that's like your residual income on a job. You know, you've worked the job, now you get this little residual package for the rest of your life, and you only lived 4 or 5 years, so you didn't get a chance to, and your family didn't get a chance to benefit from all those years of not having you around. You know, so we have to begin to retool our thinking and have that health-wealth balance.
Yes.
Exactly. So Sylvia, just share in terms of what your add on to what Dr. Baruch is saying, in a sense of, you know, the health-wealth balance, and knowing that, you know, we can keep chasing, but eventually, you know, your body will tell you.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just looking at it from a scientific perspective, you know, we, as a society, we always look for the quick fixes. You know, we look for diet pills, and we look to drink ourselves thin and healthy, and we don't want to put the work in. You know, this body is a machine. And this machine has to have the right fuel for it to continue to work at its optimal peak performance. You know, it's just like a car. If you run a car without ever changing the oil or the essential elements that keep the car going, same thing happens. It will break down on the side of the road. So your body will break down on the side of the road. And as Dr. Baruch mentioned, no amount of money can reverse, you know, what has already impacted your life. You know, I always refer to, you know, my body as a temple, and respecting the temple. And, you know, I have a tagline on Vegan Pro on Facebook, the site that I manage, and it's Temple Love Always, no excuses ever, because we always try to find easy methods. You know, you and I were talking the other day, some conversations that you have with people, they want to challenge you on being a vegan. They want you to justify and explain your decisions to be a vegan. But, you know, I've gotten to the point now in my walk to say, you know, I don't have to, you know, convince you. My actions will speak louder than words.
Right.
You know,
I think
that's
the
just
conversation has to get flipped, in fact. I think after looking at the statistics, I think it's time that we ask the question, you know, are you still eating meat?
it. Right.
After all of this out here,
Right.
you still make that still makes sense to you, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We talk about, you know, the digestive system. We talk about, you know, if you decide to eat a steak, you know, on a Sunday afternoon, your steak and potatoes and your gravy with your onion sauce on top, you know, the time frame it takes for that steak to go through your digestive system. You know, when you can easily have, you know, alternatives. So, you know, it's a mindset. At some point in time, vegans won't be the minority. We'll
Right.
be the majority because we will be outliving people based on our choices.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And you know, I always say, you know, it's a holistic approach. You know, because you have some people that eat various types of foods and still, you know, consuming alcohol, you know, consumption. You know, I mean, so I always try to, you know, add to other discussions when I'm talking to people, because people want to, you know, people addiction to meat is like so emotional.
Yes,
you
it
know,
is.
it's so emotional. It's like, you know, folk want to debate you, you know, like it's a religion or something. It's like, nah, man, it's not that deep. I mean, it should be logic
Yeah.
at this time. You know, it's an adult type of thing, you know, that real evolved humans do, you know, conscious and aware beings that want to live. And if if you're about preserving your life, you're gonna, you know, and I know some people, you know, well, I can't afford this or A, B, and C, you know. I mean, look, I mean, what's the value you put on your life?
Right.
That's you know how it's gonna, you know, have to be. But let me shout out a few people: Nike, our brother Brian Wallace Durham, Dr. Ed Womack. I'm gonna give you a call, brother, soon, and Sister Aset from Atlanta. So thank you for joining me here. So I'm gonna wrap up here again. You know, we had a powerful weekend at the Power Networking Conference in National Harbor. This is the promotional flyer. Let me set it up here and show everybody. Just a phenomenal event. For those that see this, I will be in Brooklyn this Saturday, maybe coming up this Friday. Myself and Sylvia will be joining me here. And, you know, so we'll be screening 7 a.m. So looking forward to that. And if anybody need me to moderate anything, I'm available. Holler at the Success Scholar, you know, for moderation. And you should offer me to come and speak at your event, or, you know, be on a panel, or, you know, just, you know, I'm a good addition to any event that you all have. So definitely consider that. And again, Power Talk, I'm going to talk more about that coming up. It's June the 17th and 18th, everyone. Powerful pack lineup. Brother Carl Nelson, I'm a co-sponsor in that. And I'll have to hear, we're going to be honoring Dr. Francis Cress Welsing there. So looking forward for that. So I'm just excited about everything. Moves are being made between here, the DMV, Baltimore DMV. Just ready to step some things up. And the film before I do was shot in Atlanta. Let me give a shout out for you all that tuned in last week. Yeah, I think it was last week. So I didn't hear the results because we were so tired, but I'm sure it was a phenomenal event in Atlanta. But definitely, brothers and sisters, you can check me out on various social media. Success Scholar, HAKI.com. I'm on Facebook, Harambe Books. Harambe Books, that's my business page. So invite friends to that. So that's all I have, brothers and sisters. Let me get on out of here, and I'm going to be back here next week. We'll see what we're going to have lined up. No superstars lined up, but let's make it happen. And just remember, ain't no stopping us now. Let's blast that up and say, let's pump it up, brothers and sisters. Thank you. Thank you, Sylvia. All right.
The moving, the groove.